Meet Tanaka, a boy so lazy that if laziness were an Olympic sport, he would still refuse to stand on the podium. This guy isn't just low energy, he is permanently running on power-saving mode. He's so listless that his best friend Oda has basically accepted the role of personal forklift, carrying him to class like unpaid maid. Tanaka can't even finish a full text message, and the teachers have completely given up on correcting him because by the time he reacts, the bell for the next class would already be ringing. After class, Oda walks up to Tanaka and politely asks him to at least take his textbook out of his bag. Not to read but just to acknowledge its existence. But Tanaka doesn't move. He just sits there trembling like a phone on 1% battery. Oda touches his arm and immediately realizes the horrifying truth. Tanaka's limbs have gone completely numb. Tanaka casually explains that this happens all the time. If he sleeps face down, his arms would just stop working just like your relationship. If he leans against the window, his eyes misjudge the distance and he headbutts the glass with full confidence. If he rests his chin on his hand for too long, his joints would start filing a formal complaint. At this point, Oda realizes that Tanaka's lifestyle isn't just lazy, it's actually dangerous. This man was one bad nap away from hospitalization. Later in gym class, something shocking happens. Tanaka was abnormally motivated and seeing this Oda nearly calls an exorcist. Tanaka explains that he wants a body that can survive extreme listlessness without going numb or hurting. Basically, he wants muscles not to be athletic, but to support maximum laziness. Today, he was going to train hard so that future Tanaka can do absolutely nothing in peace. Warm-ups begin, and just after the second rep, Tanaka's back starts crying. 2 reps later, his arms join the rebellion. He immediately decides this is a good time to inhale fresh air. Later they start playing badminton. Tanaka and Oda team up against friends. Oda plays like he was fighting for his bloodline. Inspired by him, Tanaka attempts the same aggressive strike, but his grip was so loose that the racket slips out and nearly takes someone's life. Everyone instantly realizes that he is a public safety hazard and drags Tanaka to the sidelines. Oda continues solo domination while Tanaka watches him, mentally calculating how Oda's effort might somehow magically reflect on his own grade. Suddenly, Tanaka gets an idea involving the shuttlecock. Meanwhile, Oda smashes one so hard it flies out of the gym. They go to grab another and discover the box was empty. Oda casually explains that Tanaka uses the shuttlecocks as head pillows because they relax him into immediate sleep. Seeing Tanaka snoozing peacefully like a retired grandpa, they decide it's easier to retrieve the lost shuttlecock than wake him up. Another day, Oda notices that Tanaka was resting in an unfamiliar pose, using his second hand to support his chin. Concerned, Oda asks if something's wrong. While they were talking, a classmate asks Tanaka for help in carrying printed papers to the staff room. Tanaka stands up without changing his pose. Oda reminds him that his hands are still glued to his face. Tanaka helps anyway, lifting exactly one corner of the bundle. When told those aren't the papers needed, Tanaka replies that the request was just, "Help me," which he technically fulfilled. Somehow, Oda ends up helping instead. Later, they go to drink water, and Tanaka just lets the tap wash his face like he's an exhibit at an aquarium. Oda senses that Tanaka feels different today, but as a loyal friend, he decides to respect this mysterious new flavor of weird. At lunch, Oda offers Tanaka food but he refuses. His stomach immediately betrays him with a loud growl. So, Oda tries to help him take one bite. Tanaka still refuses, choosing hunger over efforts. Later in music class, Tanaka plays the piano while the class sings. Very quickly, his playing turns into a gloomy horror soundtrack. The teacher approaches and tries to wake him, noticing something on his cheek. When she gets closer, Tanaka suddenly screams like a startled snake. The teacher panics, apologizes, and retreats. Oda and friends also panic and start whisper consulting. One genius finally concludes that Tanaka might be in love. After school, Oda finds Tanaka sitting sadly at his desk and internally apologizes for being a terrible friend. He offers ice cream to cheer him up, but Tanaka trips over his bag, spilling notes everywhere. Oda finds a notebook filled with reminder notes telling Tanaka to go to the dentist after school. The mystery was solved. The strange behavior wasn't romance. It was tooth pain. Oda immediately grabs Tanaka and takes him to the dentist like a responsible older brother. After treatment, Tanaka was visibly irritated. So finally Oda asks if he's in love and Tanaka instantly denies it with zero hesitation. The next day, someone suddenly shouts that they want to be Tanaka's apprentice. They look around and see no one, until a short girl starts jumping to get their attention. She introduces herself as Emo from the same class and declares, with full admiration, that she wants to become Tanaka's apprentice. Tanaka immediately rejects her, but Emo ignores the rejection completely and explains that she wants to learn how to be listless and become a calm, adult-like woman. Tanaka tries gently refusing, saying he doesn't take apprentices, but Emo counters by claiming that she can handle any discipline. Tanaka escalates, saying he doesn't want any new developments disrupting his peaceful daily life, also known as he doesn't want new characters. Emo responds by saying she'll just act like an old friend, meaning she technically won't be new. Oda asks her to give up, but Tanaka stops him and allows it for just one day. Oda was touched by Tanaka's maturity, unaware that Tanaka agreed purely because rejecting her required more effort than accepting. Tanaka explains that even as a pretend apprentice, he has nothing to teach. He tells her to casually observe and research on her own. Emo agrees enthusiastically and Tanaka reminds her her that laziness requires not trying hard. Mo immediately tries her hardest to not try hard. During class, Mo stares intensely at Tanaka, beginning her serious academic study of professional laziness. And just like that, Tanaka's peaceful life quietly starts cracking. Mo begins her official training arc by deciding that the first step to true listlessness is sleepy eyes. Unfortunately, instead of looking tired, she ends up giving off the kind of death glare that looks like she's about to curse someone's bloodline. Since she's sitting right at the front, the teacher locks eyes with her and immediately gets scared. Mo instantly realizes that she has failed step 1. For step 2, she decides to relax her entire body. She relaxes a little too well and ends up looking like a corpse that forgot to lie down properly. The teacher panics again and sends her straight to the nurse's office because this child looks medically unwell. Later, Oda proudly shows Tanaka a coupon for a donut shop. Meanwhile, Mo was still stalking Tanaka's every move like she's studying a rare animal documentary. This time, she discovers a new technique. She decides she will become a quiet woman. But her plan instantly collapses when Oda invites her along since the coupon requires 3 people. Mo wanted to go more than anything, but she tries to respond coldly to appear mature. On the outside, she says yes calmly, but on the inside, her soul was screaming. Her mouth was practically drooling, and if she had a tail, it would be wagging like a loyal dog. Another flawless failure. During break time, Mo sees Tanaka buying green tea. She personally loved strawberry milk, but convinces herself that an adult-like woman would never drink something so childish. So she forces herself to buy green tea. Oda casually compliments her choice and then immediately buys strawberry milk for himself. This completely shatters Mo's worldview and she starts crying internally and externally. Oda takes her to Tanaka and explains that she's crying because she gave up strawberry milk for green tea. Tanaka gets genuinely shocked. This was serious. So Tanaka takes action. He buys strawberry milk and drinks it right in front of her, with the dead eyes of a man drinking medicine. Mo sees this and her brain short-circuits. She runs away in emotional overload. Later, she sits alone feeling miserable, thinking she has zero talent for being lazy. But she refuses to give up and decides to prove herself. She goes to the library, does full research, and after school, presents Tanaka with an actual written report on listlessness. Tanaka reads exactly 1 page and immediately tells her she's not suited for being lazy, and the reason is devastating. She's a hard worker. Tanaka explains that he would never go through the effort of making a report in the first place. This truth hits Mo harder than any insult. From the very beginning, she never had a chance of reaching Tanaka's professional laziness tier. Seeing her crushed, Tanaka comforts her in the most Tanaka way possible by telling her that being hardworking is actually her strength and that she doesn't need to force herself to become like him. Mo finally admits the real reason behind all of this. There's someone she likes, and she wants to become a good match for him. Even if she's childish on the outside, she wants to be adult-like on the inside. When Tanaka asks if the guy is dissatisfied with who she already is, Mo says no. He's a good person. Hearing this, Tanaka drops surprisingly solid life advice. If someone accepts you as you are, there's no reason to torture yourself trying to change. He adds that standing on tiptoes might make you look taller for a second, but your real height will be exposed in 3 seconds anyway. So it's better to approach life at your real height, even if rejection happens. Oda immediately tries to stop Tanaka because this is getting way too real for an anime about laziness. After that emotional damage and healing combo, the 3 of them go to the donut shop. The next day, Tanaka and Oda were almost late for class. They sprint at what is technically their maximum speed, which still isn't impressive. Just before reaching their destination, they crash directly into a wall. They also almost collide with a girl, but Oda barely dodges. When Tanaka asks who she is, Oda explains she's the class president, Shiraishi. Unfortunately, the rugby club members immediately surround Tanaka and Oda for bumping into their goddess. Before things could turn violent, Shiraishi steps in and gently touches one of them because he was stepping on the papers she dropped. The moment she touches him, the rugby boys instantly flee from embarrassment like vampires in sunlight. She starts picking up her scattered papers, and Tanaka and Oda offer to help. She tells them it's not their fault, but Tanaka declares her their savior, claiming she saved their lives from the savage beasts with a single touch. Tanaka and Oda compare themselves to water fleas in terms of usefulness. Slightly overwhelmed but amused, she lets them help. On the way to the copy room, they realize that she's extremely popular around the school. Tanaka immediately puts his jacket over his head because he hates being noticed. He claims he dislikes attention, but really, he just hates fear in any form. In the copy room, Oda notices a mistake in the documents. The class president calmly says they'll need to check everything and reprint it. She works efficiently on the computer, which amazes Oda because he only uses PCs for internet browsing. He compliments her for knowing how to use technology properly. Tanaka then casually says he also knows a great way to use a laptop in today's dangerous society. Both of them get impressed for exactly 1 second until Tanaka explains that laptops can be used as bulletproof shields. Oda immediately shuts that down, reminding everyone that Tanaka should never be trusted with survival advice. Shiraishi calmly announces the next step of their sacred office ritual. They need to print 20 pages, stack them neatly, arrange them in order, and staple everything. Just normal office work. Meanwhile, Tanaka feels the warmth of the freshly printed paper and immediately concludes that it would make an elite quality pillow. His brain was already half asleep. Shiraishi Shiraishi starts stacking the pages. Oda takes responsibility for checking them, and after briefly imagining himself becoming one with the paper, Tanaka requests the least mentally demanding role possible, so they assign him stapling duty. After a while, Shiraishi offers them some homemade macarons. Both Tanaka and Oda eat them and immediately praise her cooking. Tanaka praises them in the exact tone of someone who might pass out mid-sentence. Slowly, the sugar kicks in the worst possible way. Tanaka starts drifting off and Oda tries to wake him, but Tanaka was at that dangerous stage where snacks have pushed him closer to unconsciousness instead of giving energy. Seeing this, Shiraishi gently tells them they can leave since there's only a little work left and she can finish it alone. Tanaka was clearly beyond his limits. Oda was shocked by how considerate she is and begins complimenting her non-stop. He praises her responsibility, her kindness, and very importantly, the fact that she can make macarons. He repeats the macaron praise multiple times, accidentally reducing Shiraishi's entire personality to baked goods. Shiraishi realizes that in Oda's eyes, she has now permanently become the macaron girl. So Oda carries Tanaka away, apologizing as they leave. The moment they're gone, Shiraishi finally relaxes. She removes her contact lenses, lowers her skirt, and ties her hair back simply. This is her real self. Back in middle school, she had no friends and was labeled boring and serious. When she entered high school, she forced herself to look cute and trendy, and it worked instantly. She became popular, but the act was exhausting. The contacts hurt her eyes, the constant smiling makes her anxious, and when she's alone, she returns to glasses and simple hair because that's the only time she can breathe. She's relieved Tanaka and Oda left early so she could drop the act. But then, disaster. They suddenly come back and see her natural look. Her heart nearly stops. The next morning, she spirals, imagining the rumors spreading and everyone gossiping about how she's not actually trendy. When her classmates greet her, she panics internally but smiles anyway. To her surprise, her friends tell her she looks pretty. No one noticed anything. She greets Tanaka and Oda brightly, but Tanaka casually asks if she's always that shiny, even when she's alone. That single sentence sends her into paranoia mode. She becomes convinced they'll expose her secret and spends the entire day secretly monitoring them. She follows them everywhere, even trailing them toward the washroom until Tanaka gently tells her that this is not a great idea. At lunch, she was exhausted but relieved that half the day is over. She overhears the boys talking about yesterday, but Oda explains that when he came back, Shiraishi was already gone, so her secret is safe. Her friends praise her efficiency again, and she feels happy knowing her image is intact. Later, in the girls' washroom, she stares at herself in the mirror and realizes how different she looks depending on how she presents herself. Then she gets a bold idea. Maybe she should have just become a completely different person from the start. To test it, she walks past two classmates, Kato and Shibamura. Nervously, she passes them and they completely ignore her. She's so happy she starts hopping down the hallway like a rabbit. Feeling brave, she passes Tanaka and Oda next. Instantly, Tanaka calls her name. She responds out of shock, and 5 seconds after having the greatest idea of her life, it gets absolutely destroyed. Realizing there's no escaping, she confesses everything. The popular Shiraishi is her ideal self, the version she works hard to maintain. The real her is plain, boring, and lonely. She wanted to shine, even if it meant exhausting herself. She tells them they can laugh if they want. Instead, Tanaka says she's too erotic, instantly horrifying everyone. He immediately corrects himself, saying he meant admirable, since the words sound similar in Japanese. Tanaka tells her she's admirable because she works hard not just for herself, but to give something positive to others. He admits that he contributes absolutely nothing to society and that laziness is basically his life philosophy. Compared to him, she's doing amazing. He encourages her to believe in herself more. This makes Shiraishi genuinely happy. She thanks them and asks them to keep her secret. They agree, adding that even if they told anyone, nobody would believe them anyway. As they leave, Tanaka tells her that he's relieved to know that even the shining Shiraishi has weaknesses. Something too bright would be blinding, and he wouldn't be able to approach it. The next day, Shiraishi comes to school wearing glasses instead of contacts. Nobody mocks her. In fact, her friends sympathize, saying contacts hurt anyway. Shiraishi wonders how Tanaka was the only one who recognized her. Oda asks the same question, and Tanaka answers that looks can lie, but her sparkling eyes can't. Oda immediately tells him to never say that out loud in front of her. One day during lunch, Tanaka and Oda were eating on the rooftop. Suddenly, the door bursts open and a girl storms in, demanding a duel with Tanaka. Tanaka instantly asks Oda to switch places with him. Oda recognizes her immediately, and she recognizes him too. When Tanaka asks what's going on, the girl claims that they were in the same gang back in the day. Oda corrects this and explains she's actually his neighbor and childhood friend, Ekizan, nicknamed Echin, whom he's known since kindergarten. Being called Echin instantly makes her furious and she tells him to stop. Tanaka decides she doesn't seem like a bad person at least. He asks why she wants to duel him. She dodges the question and says she just needs to confirm what kind of guy he really is. And just like that, Tanaka's peaceful rooftop lunch was officially over. Tanaka listens to her dramatic challenge and calmly explains that there won't be any battle at all, so it's better if she just gives up now. When Ekizan asks why, Tanaka casually says he's absolutely confident that no matter what kind of match it is, he'll lose miserably. He has zero motivation to try, so the result is already decided. Instead of feeling insulted, Ekizan starts pitying pitying him and tells him to at least put in some effort. She tries convincing him to play something simple, maybe an athletic game or even cards. They eventually settle on a board game with black and white pieces. They play, and Ekizan wins. She immediately mocks Tanaka for losing so easily. Tanaka, however, looks completely satisfied, which confuses her. How is someone happy after losing? That's when Tanaka points out that he actually spelled the word white in Japanese using only white pieces. This somehow impresses Oda, and Ekizan feels defeated despite technically winning the match. Victory has never felt so hollow. Just as she starts rethinking Tanaka's potential, her stomach growls loudly. Oda offers her food, which turns out to be a bunny-shaped chocolate cream bread. This instantly sets her off. She scolds Oda, accusing him of making fun of her, declaring there's no way she'd eat something that cute. According to her, only a demon like Oda could eat a rabbit's face. With no other option, she chooses to stay hungry and challenges Tanaka to a card game instead. Tanaka shuffles the cards in a way that unexpectedly impresses everyone. Then he does another fancy shuffle, and immediately a strong gust of wind blows all the cards everywhere. Now they're crawling around collecting cards like lost souls. While doing this, Tanaka and Oda notice Ekizan stumbling because of her long skirt. Tanaka suggests she shorten it, which enrages her because that skirt is part of her identity. Oda tries to smooth things over, saying it's fashionable and trendy, but Ekizan snaps back, explaining that the skirt represents her respect for female gang leaders. Fashion meets philosophy, and nobody wins. After collecting the cards, they realize one card was still missing. Ekizan gets even more irritated because now the game can't even start properly. She starts ranting about how her friend respects Tanaka and how she imagined him to be some man of spirit. Instead, she sees him as a shabby, lazy loser. She gets angry that her friend wanted to be like him and assumes that if someone like Tanaka influences her, she'll definitely turn into a coward. Tanaka calmly responds that he doesn't remember doing anything worthy of respect, especially not from a delinquent. Right then, Emo appears on the rooftop and cheerfully greets Tanaka. The moment Ekizan sees Emo, she completely switches personalities and lifts Emo up, swinging her around affectionately. Tanaka and Oda are stunned to realize that Ekizan's precious friend is actually Emo. When Oda asks Emo if she was looking for Ekizan, Emo casually explains that she followed Ekizan's smell to the rooftop. Tanaka tells Ekizan she doesn't need to worry because Emo has absolutely zero ability to be lazy. Ekizan agrees, saying Mo is way too hardworking to ever be influenced by Tanaka. Immediately after agreeing, she grabs Tanaka and starts choking him for calling Emo zero capability, declaring that those words are offensive under Ekizan law. When Emo asks what they were doing, Ekizan explains she was having a match with Tanaka. She says Tanaka was terrible at everything and wasn't even worth being her opponent. But Emo, who deeply respects Tanaka, jumps in to defend him, saying that Tanaka is amazing and that Ekizan hasn't seen his true power yet. This enrages Ekizan, who now believes Tanaka was looking down on her and holding back. Meanwhile, Tanaka silently regrets ever agreeing to take Emo as an apprentice. On another day, Tanaka notices a reminder on his phone telling him to stop by the supermarket. He asks Oda to come along after school. Oda assumes it's about carrying bags, but Tanaka explains he needs help remembering what he's supposed to buy because he has no memory of it at all. After thinking hard, Tanaka remembers his younger sister asked him to buy something the night before. Oda was shocked that Tanaka even has a sister and reveals he has a younger sister too, in the 3rd year of middle school. Tanaka imagines Oda's sister as a carbon copy of Oda in a school uniform and feels bad that she had to be born a girl. Tanaka then says his own sister is also in her 3rd year and resembles him way too much, both in face and personality. Since their mother is often away, the siblings stay home together and get along well. Oda assumes that with 2 Tanakas in one house, the place must be a disaster. He asks if Tanaka eats properly, and Tanaka tells him not to treat people like garbage dumps. At the supermarket, Tanaka explains that even though his sister looks like him, her personality is far more advanced. As for what he needs to buy, he still can't remember. He grabs a cart and suggests they wander around until something triggers his memory. Tanaka zones out while trying to recall his sister's request, and Oda starts showing him random items, hoping he'll at least remember whether it's food or a daily necessity. Tanaka thinks it through and concludes that whatever his sister asked for, it definitely wasn't frozen food. She knows he walks at the speed of continental drift, so anything frozen would turn into soup by the time he reached home. Heavy items like water or rice are also out of the question because Tanaka lifting weight is a myth. Oda starts showing him different products, explaining chicken like he's writing a doctoral thesis on poultry anatomy. He passionately compares chicken breast to other cuts, and nearby shoppers start getting impressed. Oda casually grabs a giant roll of tissues from the top shelf like it's nothing, and suddenly all the women in the store are silently admiring him as premium househusband material. Tanaka, meanwhile, feels deeply threatened. Oda is basically his only wife, and now the entire supermarket seems ready to adopt him. Competition for Oda is rising far beyond Tanaka's expectations. Then Tanaka suddenly remembers that he set another reminder so he wouldn't forget. When he checks it, it turns out he only typed the letter P. Apparently, he got exhausted mid-typing and gave up. The mystery deepens. After wandering the store with no success, Tanaka decides to use his ultimate spell and tell his sister that whatever she wanted was sold out. He then suggests buying things that start with the letter P, aren't heavy, and don't rot easily. easily. This somehow still results in heavy bags, but luckily Oda exists. They finally check out and leave the store, where they spot a pancake stall. Oda gets excited, and suddenly everything clicks. The stall is near Tanaka's school. It's the last day of the sale, and Tanaka's reminder was P. Clearly, his sister had planned this whole thing, knowing her brother would still somehow succeed by accident. They buy pancakes, Tanaka thanks Oda, and they head home. The next day, Oda walks into class and everyone notices a strange smell filling the room. Oda asks Tanaka if his sister enjoyed the pancakes, but then the smell hits him properly. Tanaka explains the truth. His sister never asked for pancakes. She asked for a pipe cleaner for the drain. Since Tanaka bought a ridiculous amount of random items, she cooked him a special dish using everything he bought, and this smell is the aftermath. Meanwhile, Ekizan keeps staring at Tanaka and Oda all day. Tanaka's earlier words won't leave her head, and she starts seeing both of them differently. When they notice her staring, Tanaka immediately declares that fighting is banned in the Tanaka kingdom. Ekizan says she won't fight like she used to anymore. She says she's a girl now, shocking both of them. Immediately embarrassed, she runs off. Later, Ekizan reflects on their personalities. Oda is kind, reliable, and treats her like a girl, which embarrasses her so much she'd probably yell at him to stop. Tanaka is lazy, unreliable, unsociable, and doesn't treat her like a girl at all, which somehow makes her even angrier. She concludes she should wear a cutout skirt and act more womanly, but Emo stops her. Seeing Emo makes Ekizan realize that if her last name ever changed, her name would too. She asks Emo what she'd call her if she became a Tanaka or an Oda. Emo thinks and suggests Ochan, a mix of all their names. They suddenly spot Tanaka, and Ekizan asks him if being as small as Emo would be nice. Emo immediately rejects that idea, saying Ekizan is strong and wonderful as she is. Tanaka agrees, which makes Ekizan genuinely happy. Later, while walking and replaying Tanaka's compliment in her head, Ekizan nearly trips over her skirt. Oda saves her and she feels relieved, but then instantly dashes away and falls down the stairs. Oda tries to help, but she refuses, so he carries her anyway. She throws a tantrum from embarrassment and ends up falling again. Frustrated, Ekizan accuses them of telling her to call herself Tanaka or Oda. Oda was shocked and denies it. While they argue, Tanaka remembers the notebook incident and shows her what he wrote. He explains that he got too tired to finish writing and accidentally insulted her name. He apologizes sincerely and Ekizan realizes it was all a misunderstanding. After getting beaten up anyway, Tanaka suggests a solution. They should just shorten her name without changing it. They settle on calling her Echin. This makes Ekizan extremely embarrassed and blush hard. Later one day, Tanaka goes to wash his hands and comes back to find a chocolate in his bag. Oda overhears girls talking about giving chocolate to their crushes. Based on the packaging and the timing, Oda concludes it's Valentine's chocolate. Tanaka immediately backs away a full 10 feet from the bag because the idea of receiving romantic chocolate is way too troublesome for him to process. A few minutes later, the realization finally hits them. They're standing there, staring at the chocolate, fully aware that something weird has happened, yet neither of them wants to acknowledge it first. Tanaka admits that even if he were to receive Valentine's chocolate, he'd much rather get it from someone with very low presence. Someone who wouldn't mentally exhaust him just by existing. He then casually drops a personal achievement. Back in middle school, he was voted by all 30 classmates as the boy least likely to return a gift on White Day. A true undefeated record. Oda tells him that now that he's received chocolate, he should at least consider redeeming himself. That's when Tanaka notices something else in his bag. Another chocolate. This one's clearly for Oda. It's from a local shop, very simple, just one chocolate with no fancy packaging. Tanaka immediately proposes a trade, thinking this will improve both of their situations. His own chocolate looks way too serious, while Oda's looks harmless. Oda accepts, mostly because he wasn't expecting any chocolate at all. Now both of them are confused because neither chocolate has a sender's name. All that's attached is a note saying, "I am always watching you." That sentence alone is enough to make this feel less like Valentine's Day and more like a thriller. When one of Tanaka's classmates casually greets him, Tanaka instantly grabs the guy, convinced he's the culprit. After apologizing and calming down, Tanaka and Oda start theorizing. Maybe it was Emo. The difference between the chocolates would make sense. Tanaka is her master, and she literally watches him all the time. They go to confirm this, only to see Emo loudly handing chocolate to Ekizan while screaming that she completely forgot to give anything to Tanaka and Oda. That theory collapses instantly. Now Tanaka starts spiraling. Maybe someone was watching them from the shadows, laughing while manipulating their emotions. He decides it's safer to just not accept the chocolate at all. Oda, being the sane one, suggests they should at least respect the giver's feelings and try it. When they finally open the box, they're shocked. The chocolate was genuinely really good. When Oda asks Tanaka for his opinion, Tanaka calmly says it's good chocolate. He admits he likes chocolate, but he can't afford something as troublesome as a girlfriend because he's just an average guy trying to survive. Oda then eats his own chocolate and immediately gets sad. It's dark chocolate. Tanaka, feeling generous, offers him some of his. Oda tastes it and instantly lights up. It's really good. Too good. Oda realizes he's had something like this before. After thinking, he remembers. This tastes exactly like the sweets Shiraishi once made. Oda suggests Tanaka set a reminder for March 14th so he won't forget to return the favor. But on the way home, they overhear Shiraishi telling her friends that she's always been alone on February 14th and was too busy studying for exams to even even think about Valentine's Day. Both Tanaka and Oda freeze. They were wrong again. Tanaka was now deeply disturbed. They just ate high-quality homemade chocolate from an unknown sender. Oda tries to calm him down, but things get worse when a voice recorder suddenly falls out of Tanaka's bag. Tanaka immediately starts talking about reporting this as a crime. Oda tells him to relax because they can't conclude it's related to the chocolate. At that exact moment, a small voice calls Tanaka from behind. Oda turns around, sees the girl, and instantly covers Tanaka's eyes, yelling that it's his doppelganger. The girl calmly introduces herself as Rino, Tanaka's little sister, and thanks Oda for always taking care of her brother. Tanaka and Rino look so alike that Oda's brain struggles to process it. Same face, same hair, same aura. Tanaka introduces Oda properly, although he's already talked about him to Rino before. When Rino asks why they look so panicked, Tanaka shows her the voice recorder. Rino immediately takes it and says it's hers. She explains she uses it when teachers speak too fast so she can record them. Oda praises her thoughtfulness, but Rino casually adds that her real goal is to make the teacher listen to himself and fix his way of speaking. That explanation somehow feels more dangerous. Rino invites both of them to their apartment for a drink. Tanaka instantly agrees, realizing that if Oda knows where he lives, he can be carried home every day like an Oda taxi. When they arrive, Oda notices a pile of shoes at the entrance. Rino explains she was repairing them earlier and had to leave midway. After offering Oda tea, Oda asks for sugar. Rino stares at him and says tea is best enjoyed black. She keeps watching him intensely while asking if it tastes good. Under pressure, Oda forces himself to drink it. As time passes, Oda notices that Tanaka's sister is basically the upgraded version of Tanaka. While Tanaka lies around watching TV, Rino works non-stop, folding clothes and cleaning. She doesn't even acknowledge Tanaka's existence until he has to verbally remind her where he's sitting. Later, Rino and Oda talk quietly. She asks about Tanaka's daily school life. Oda explains everything: carrying him, helping him eat, staying together all day, shopping after school. Rino immediately tells Oda to stop all of that starting tomorrow. She says Tanaka needs to be left alone for his own sake. Oda feels this is a bit cold, but before he can respond, Rino tries to refill his cup with more black coffee, but he refuses immediately. Tanaka then pulls out the remaining chocolate and suggests they eat it before Oda leaves. They talk about how they don't know who left it, but it doesn't feel malicious, and it tastes amazing. Tanaka mentions that the chocolate looks homemade and tastes really good. Rino reacts subtly but looks pleased. Tanaka notices this. Then Rino suddenly remembers Oda saying the chocolate was delicious. Oda admits he tried one, liked it way too much, and ended up eating more than half. And just like that, the mystery quietly starts answering itself. This immediately makes Rino snap. She tells Oda to leave right now. When Oda asks what he did wrong, she calmly explains that the sun is setting and it's dangerous after dark, so he should hurry home. Translation: get out. Tanaka decides to walk Oda to the station. Before leaving, Oda politely thanks Rino for having him over and for the coffee. The moment the door closes, Rino mutters to herself that she knows perfectly well the coffee tasted terrible and that Oda was just being polite. What really annoys her is that he kept complimenting her. The real reason she invited him over wasn't kindness. It was because she wanted to hear about her brother's school life. Instead, all she got was a long story about how close Tanaka and Oda are, which irritates her more than she wants to admit. Meanwhile, Tanaka remains completely unaware that his sister cares about him that much. Rino suddenly remembers the voice recorder she accidentally put in Tanaka's bag and decides to listen to it, hoping to hear a bit about his life at school. Unfortunately for her sanity, Tanaka's voice was barely audible while Oda's voice comes through loud and clear. This somehow makes her dislike Oda even more, even though he did absolutely nothing wrong. While walking home, Tanaka casually tells Oda that he already figured out who gave him the chocolate. In his mind, it was obviously Rino. He assumes the chocolate she gave him was just leftover from the ones she made for the person she actually likes, plus tasting samples. The moment she looked relieved after he praised the chocolate sealed the deal for him. Oda agrees that it all makes sense. Unfortunately, both of them were confidently wrong. Another day, Tanaka and Oda walk past a fast food place. Oda spots a strawberry sundae and immediately wants to go in, but Tanaka refuses. Fast food places stress him out. Everything moves too fast, the ordering is rushed, and even standing there feels like a time trial. He claims he's not hungry anyway. Then he spots a poster for a lucky set. Tanaka suddenly stops Oda and announces that he's starting to love vacuum cleaners, aka machines that do chores for him. That's enough motivation and they go in. The employee, a part-time worker in her 20s, takes one look at Tanaka and assumes he's going to stare at the menu for 10 minutes. Instead, Tanaka instantly orders the lucky set with toy number 4. She's shocked and learns not to judge people by appearance. Unfortunately, number 4 was sold out. She offers 1, 2, or 3 instead, but Tanaka immediately loses interest and downgrades his order to a strawberry shake. When she hands it over, she senses danger. A lazy person with this much listless energy is definitely going to spill it. She tells him she'll bring it to his seat instead. Tanaka sits there, disappointed about the missing toy, and tries to drink the shake, but nothing happens. He tries harder, still nothing. He gets tired and wonders how Oda drinks shakes so easily. The employee accidentally makes eye contact with Tanaka and panics, thinking he's glaring at her out of resentment over the toy. In reality, Tanaka was just struggling against physics. Tanaka then tells Oda that the employee is amazing because she passed passed an interview and works hard, while he couldn't even survive the application process. Oda agrees. Meanwhile, the girl trembles in fear, convinced both of them are terrifying. In the staff room, she completely spirals. Tanaka was scary enough, but Oda seems even worse. She convinces herself Oda must be connected to some shady organization and that she's in danger. She runs to the manager and begs him to somehow get lucky set number 4 before she gets ambushed after work. Back at their table, Tanaka observes people chatting, napping, and working on laptops. He realizes that the place is incredibly forgiving, a paradise for someone like him. As long as he finishes his order, no one bothers him. Tanaka decides he likes it there. Even without toy number 4, it's a good place. The only unsolved problem was still the shake. When they leave, they see the same girl handing out pamphlets. She freezes in fear, but Tanaka walks up to her, thanks her for working so hard, and tells her the place is really nice. Oda thanks her for the food and they leave. Only then does the girl realize they were actually good people. On another day, as Tanaka and Oda walk down the hallway, Shiraishi watches them quietly from the shadows, already setting up the next layer of calm chaos. Ever since the day Shiraishi's real self was exposed, she hasn't been able to stop thinking about Tanaka. The problem is, the more she thinks about it, the more she starts suspecting the forbidden possibility of love. That thought immediately disappoints her. Someone like her, awkward, unfashionable, and socially rusty, being in love sounds unrealistic even to herself. Her friends notice she's acting strange, and when they ask what's wrong, she admits she might be in love. Unfortunately, her face looks like she just lost her wallet, not like someone experiencing romance. Still, her friends promise to support her no matter what. In class, Shiraishi wonders how she's supposed to approach Tanaka. Ever since that incident, they haven't spoken properly. Then she notices something terrifying. Oda was always with Tanaka, always, like a loyal guardian spirit. So she decides to observe Oda first, hoping to figure out a way to get closer to Tanaka. Right on cue, Oda grabs Tanaka by the waist to move him, but Tanaka was asleep and immediately collapses. Oda calmly lifts him and carries him piggyback style like this was a daily chore. Shiraishi's soul leaves her body because that intimacy level between boys was something illegal for her. She briefly considers weight training so she can lift Tanaka herself, but then quickly realizes that Tanaka would never allow a stranger to do that. So she concludes step 1 is becoming friends. Unfortunately, she has zero experience making friends, having spent most of her life solo. After thinking hard, she decides the safest strategy is to accidentally bump into Tanaka in the hallway and start a conversation naturally. While waiting, Oda notices her and calls out, which startles her. Seeing an opportunity, she asks Oda whether Tanaka has a girlfriend. Oda answers instantly that he doesn't. When she asks if Tanaka likes anyone, Oda jokingly says it's him, since Tanaka treats him like his wife. Then he clarifies that Tanaka doesn't like anyone because he thinks love is troublesome. Shiraishi was secretly relieved, thanks Oda, and immediately goes off to find Tanaka. Meanwhile, Oda misunderstands everything and assumes Shiraishi plans to lecture Tanaka about love because she's the committee chairman. But when Shiraishi reaches the classroom, she sees Mo chatting happily with Tanaka. This shocks her. She didn't know anyone else was that close to him. Mo notices Shiraishi watching and Shiraishi panics and runs away. Mo catches her, grabs her hand, and drags her back to class without warning. Shiraishi was mentally unprepared for whatever is about to happen. Mo then loudly announces that she has found another inspiring student who wants to become Tanaka's apprentice. Both Tanaka and Shiraishi freeze. Mo explains that she noticed Shiraishi's passionate gaze and believes she admires Tanaka's listlessness. According to Mo, they should train together, and Shiraishi should become the senior apprentice. This was Mo's plan all along. Tanaka immediately shuts this down, explaining that Mo is a self-proclaimed apprentice who wants to be a listless nurse and made everything up herself. This revelation emotionally destroys Mo on the spot. Gathering courage, Shiraishi tells Tanaka that she doesn't want to be his student, she wants to be his friend. Tanaka casually replies that he thought they already were friends. Shiraishi was stunned, then relieved, then happy all at once. Mo suggests they exchange contact info to celebrate friendship. Shiraishi was thrilled and Tanaka agrees, but warns her there's only a 10% chance he'll reply. When Shiraishi checks her phone later, she sees a message from Mo saying she'll support her from the shadows. Shiraishi was shocked by Mo's emotional intelligence and mentally promotes her to master status. A few days later, Tanaka and Oda go to fast food cafe again. Oda suddenly realizes he left his phone at school and rushes back to get it, asking Tanaka to wait. Tanaka declares he will guard his chips with his life and that he has already fused with the seat. Even a natural disaster won't move him. While he's waiting, a middle school girl looks for an empty seat and notices Tanaka sprawled across the sofa. She panics internally but says nothing. Suddenly, Rino appears and greets her brother. The girl instantly covers Rino's eyes, shouting about doppelgangers. This reaction annoys Rino because it reminds her of Oda. The girl doesn't even realize Rino just called Tanaka her brother. Tanaka, meanwhile, thinks that if Rino is here, maybe this place counts as home. Rino introduces the girl as Sia, her classmate, and introduces Tanaka as her brother. Sia greets him so quietly her mouth barely moves, and Rino acts as her personal translator. Rino explains that Sia is extremely shy. Rino was thrilled that she ran into her brother and that Oda isn't around to interfere. Sia panics, thinking she needs to say something, but Rino reassures assures her that Tanaka would actually appreciate being left alone. After observing him, Sia tells Rino that her brother is pale, thin, and handsome, like a prince. She compares this to her own brother, who is built like a gorilla. Tanaka calmly says it's good to have a gorilla brother for protection. Rino immediately adds that even if Tanaka is a shrimp with zero muscles, she'll rely on him anyway. Sia misreads Tanaka's neutral face as boredom, but in reality, Tanaka was happy because he finally got the mini vacuum cleaner he wanted. Rino notices his good mood, and Tanaka admits it, shocking Sia, who realizes she accidentally read his mood incorrectly. Rino goes to order drinks, leaving Tanaka and Sia alone. Silence falls. Tanaka breaks it by asking how gorilla-like her brother is on a scale of 1 to 5. Sia answers 3, meaning average gorilla. Tanaka then opens up, admitting that while he accepts being lazy, he feels guilty. If his sister were ever in trouble, he worries he wouldn't be able to protect her. He feels pathetic and sorry that Rino has a brother like him. Sia gently tells him that Rino talks about him a lot at school and always sounds happy and proud. Tanaka relaxes instantly and declares that this means he can continue being lazy with peace of mind. Oda returns at that moment, and it's revealed that he's actually Sia's older brother. Tanaka was shocked and immediately labels him a reliable level 3 gorilla. Rino appears, sees Oda, and instantly gets irritated, announcing it's time for dinner and everyone should leave. On the way home, Rino notices that Sia looks happy, and Sia is impressed that her brother and Rino's brother are also best friends. Later at home, Rino lies awake thinking about Oda and Sia, realizing she never expected her best friend to also be her rival's little sister.